Wonder if I could figure out a way to install these parts into the girlfriend to see if I can make her more supple and forgiving. Did I just say that out loud? Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and today we're going to be working on a Rockshox Pike Ultimate fork that has a Charger 3.0 damper that we're going to be converting to a Charger 3.1. Now, I'm not going to sit here and BS you and say this is an upgrade. I have no idea if this is an upgrade. I've never tried the 3.1 damper. I've only tried the 3.0. I have a lot of experience with the 2.0 and 2.1. I could say that there is a difference between going from a 2.0, 2.1 to a 3.0, no questions asked. What the difference will be converting this to a 3.1, I guess we'll find out, right? So I can't imagine this being a hard job. The 3.0 damper wasn't exactly all that hard a damper to work on. We're basically giving it a full service for the most part and changing out a whole bunch of parts in the process, all right? So with that being said, let's get into the tools and parts needed for the job. As for tools, the most important tool on this table, boom, right there, safety glasses. This is a fork, it has oils, it has pressure. Wear your safety glasses. We're going to need a vise for this job. Flat jaws are going to absolutely be needed. We are going to first start off with the rebound screw. So we need a 2.5 millimeter Allen to remove the rebound screw. Then we're going to loosen the rebound damper bolt. At the bottom, we need a 5 millimeter Allen for that, right? Then we're going to take the 2 millimeter again. We're going to take out the compression knobs from the top. From there, we are going to use actually this guy here in order to remove the entire damper assembly. It's all one big cartridge, right? So this is a cassette tool. Any cassette tool will work for this job. So first, what we're going to do is take out the oil by removing the rebound seal head, 23 millimeter wrench for that. We're going to need a 23 millimeter crow's foot. Actually, yeah, 23 millimeter crow's foot in order to torque it back down later. So we're going to have to put the oil into a canister. Make sure you have something to put the oil in. Then we're going to separate the compression stack. 28 millimeter crow's foot wrench, Nipex, anything with a cassette tool. But there is a catch here. The area that gives the grip is not sufficient in my opinion, right? I literally had to cut this down a long time ago in order to be able to make it work. You need a 28 millimeter, no matter what it is, to be less than 10 millimeters in width, or else it won't fit inside the space that Rockshox gave us in order to work with the shock, okay? So it has to be less than 10 millimeters. It can't be 10 millimeters or more. It will not fit. So now we separated the compression stack. We have to go in there and change all the parts. We're going to need a 3 millimeter for this little cone type nut that they have, and a 1.5 millimeter Allen for 2 screws that hold it all together up there, right? So then we're going to change parts, put it all together, use those things, and then we're going to go down to the rebound. For the rebound, we need to take off the head so we could change out the components inside. 13 millimeter socket will do the job. We are going to need some kind of tie wrap, zip tie in order to make sure our shim stacks in the rebound stay intact. We do not want to lose the order of that, right? So we're going to put all that together. Then it comes time to filling up the system with oil and bleeding the system. You're going to want some kind of syringe, right? That goes up to 30 milliliters. So, well, it doesn't have to go up to 30 milliliters, but ultimately you're going to want a syringe for the oil for both the damper and the lower in this case, because this is going to be different than your typical lower job that we're used to, right? Torque wrench, alcohol, paper towel, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, a pick. We are absolutely going to need a plastic pick. You're better off with a plastic pick or something plastic or wood in order to position the IFP within the compression stack correctly, okay? If I'm missing anything, guys, we'll go over it as we go through the job. Next, let's go into the parts and oils needed for the job. As for parts, we're going to be needing the upgrade kit, part number 00.4318.096.000. Man, they weren't messing around. There are a lot of parts inside this kit. Just pretty much everything inside the tube. Oh well. Oils, 7 weight Maxima Plush oil. That's it, guys. Let's open up this damper. Before we start, make sure your fork is clean. Remove any mud or dirt buildup inside the steer tube, behind the crown, underneath the lower legs. Just make sure it's all clean. We don't want stuff falling into anything that we're working on when we're putting it all back together later. Now, you do not need to take the fork off the bike if you're just going to be changing or converting the damper from a 3.0 to a 3.1. If you have already put a lot of miles on your fork and you're thinking about doing this, then yeah, do a full 200-hour service, okay, without a doubt. I'm not going to be doing a full 200-hour service on this one. All I'm going to be doing is converting the damper from a 3.0 to a 3.1, and all we need to do is remove it from the inside. The reason I have it on the table, well, it's a lot easier for me to show you how to remove it from the inside than it is to have it on the bike and then go on the table and work on it, all right? So what you're about to see, imagine your fork is on your bike and, well, follow the steps to take out the existing damper that's in there, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take our rebound knob and we're gonna bring it to the fully open position, all right? No need to count, because I guarantee you both rebound and compression are gonna be different after you do this upgrade anyway. I think it's pointless to count. So you could count it and write it down if you want, right? But right now we're just gonna open it up until it's all the way to the rabbit. And that's it. Then we're gonna take a 2mm Allen and we're gonna remove the knob, loosen the screw until the knob pops out. No need to remove the screw from the knob. There we go. Just like, oh, knob popped out. The screw came out, I should say. Don't lose the screw. That's the only reason I say leave it in there. Don't take it all the way out. Just put it in for now, just in case you lose it, all right, and put it on the side. Then we're going to take a 5mm Allen and we're going to loosen the bolt at the bottom. Bit of a crack, shouldn't be too hard, and we're going to remove it. All right. And we're going to put it on the side with the rebound bolt. Next, we're going to remove our compression dials. We're going to start off, it doesn't matter, you don't have to put it in a fully open and fully closed. We're rebuilding this whole thing completely. So we're going to take a 2.5mm, put it in our low speed compression first, hold it down, take this whole knob out, the screw out and the knob out. Make sure you keep the screw and the knob together. Watch out for the Teflon ring underneath and put them as a whole on the side. And then we have another 2.5mm Allen for the high speed compression. We're going to take our screw and don't take them fully out. Just make sure you about enough until the knob comes out. And then we have this ring and we're going to keep these two guys together and put them on the side. Next, make sure you have your oil pan underneath your lower leg, right? So right now, chances are there is no oil coming out when we took out that screw because that shaft is still attached to the lower boot. When we remove the damper, we're going to have to separate that and oil will come out. So make sure you have your oil pan underneath there. I'm just going to put mine on the side for now, right? Again, you're on your bike. I'm doing it on the table. We're going to take our cassette tool and we are going to remove. It's going to be a bit of a crack. There we go. So again, there's most likely won't be any oil coming out of the bottom. All right. Do the rest by hand. And then if it doesn't want to come out, you should be able to remove the damper. If it doesn't, that means it's still attached to the bottom, okay? It might be hard to pull it out. What we are going to do at that point, we're going to grab our 5mm Allen with a mallet. Actually, we're going to put our screw back in by about 3 full turns. We'll do it with this to make my life a little bit easier. There's 2, 3. We're going to take our mallet and we are going to tap it. There we go. Oil came out of the tap. Let's take our screw back out. Now oil will come out if your bike is on the bike stand and you're doing this. Make sure you have your oil pan underneath, and I should be able. Oil came out on top, which is a good sign. Keep on knocking that thing out. I think it's a miracle it's still on there. And there we go. We got oil coming out. And that is our damper. Ta-da! We're going to take this tube and put it on the side. I cleaned the damper body. There's no oil on it. Next, what we want to do is remove the oil from the inside. Now, we don't have to remove the buttercups for this job, but we are going to separate the rebound seal head from the main shaft in order to take out the oil. It's the easiest way to do so. To do that, if you notice on the main body over here, there are 2 flat spots. We're going to take those 2 flat spots. We're going to put them on a flat jaw. And then we're going to take a 23mm wrench or adjustable wrench or a crow's foot or a Nipex, and we're going to open it up. All right, take this guy, watch out, some oil might come. Oh, oil is coming out of him. Hey. You might want to do just so you don't make too much of a mess. Put a piece of paper towel. Right now, I already made the mess. Okay, there we go. Put them inside here. Clean up some of that oil that came out. And what we're going to do is remove this guy, and we're going to dump him. As always, folks, when it comes to disposing oil, please dispose of it properly. Don't put it down the toilet. Don't put it down the sink. Don't put it outside. Don't put it in the garbage. Take it, put it in a bottle that clearly states don't drink, dangerous, poison, and then give it to a local bike shop, give it to an auto shop, give it to somebody who could properly dispose it for you, all right? Next, we're going to separate the compression head from the main body right now. First, let's put a little bit of paper towel inside them because oil will want to come out. Just like that. Okay. Now, we're going to need our cassette tool, and we're also going to need a wrench of some sort, right? Whether it's an adjustable wrench, a regular wrench, a crow's foot, a Nipex. The problem is this. Over here, this is the face that we need the wrench to lock onto, right? In order to unscrew, to hold it down while we're unscrewing the top. And considering the sizes of 28mm, it's very hard to come across a 28mm wrench of types that's less than 10mm. This facing is less than 10mm. Rockshox should have made this wider so the average adjustable wrench would easily, or wrench in general, whether adjustable or not, will easily fit inside, okay? So you need to make sure that you have a wrench of some type that is going to be less than 10mm, not more than 10mm, or it won't work, all right? So we're going to clamp onto this nut down here, this red nut. Okay. Actually make it where it's easy for me to, there we go. Hold on with the wrench so you guys can see. So then again, we're going to use our cassette tool on top. And we'll put my wrench on the bottom. And then we're going to loosen the top cap. And that's all we need to do there. And we are going to unscrew this guy. There is a spring underneath, so hold on to him. Forgot to mention that. All right. And now we can take out the mechanism. Put them on the side. Next, I'm going to take the 28mm wrench and make sure he's on there tight and unscrew him. All right, just make sure he's on there tight so you don't strip him or do damage to him. Okay. And this is our whole compression head. New oil was going to come out. So if you notice over here, I opened up the seal kit. Those are three main components, right? Inside here, we have our whole compression assembly. You're going to take it from the tip and just pop it out just like that. Watch out, there's going to be oil inside. Grab something to put the oil into. All right. Now that we cleaned all the oil off, what we're going to do is clamp him down on the flat jaw on these flat sides over here, but do not clamp him on these screws, okay? So we're going to take him, we're going to put him in a flat jaw and make sure he is sitting there. Technically, you don't need a flat jaw for this, in my opinion, but just to play it safe, then we're going to take a 3mm Allen, unscrew him until he comes out. It'll lift up if he's not all the way up already. And then we're going to take the screw and we're going to put it on the side. Okay. And then we have two 1.5mm Allens here. Grab a 1.5mm Allen. Put that guy on the side. This one on the side. All right. Then we're going to take this whole head and take him out. Okay. Then we have the whole bottom part. I'm going to take him out. And all we have left is the IFP, which is going to stay in. Unless you want to take them out and clean them. If you have a reason to, take them out and clean them. If not, just leave them in there. So this is the old compression assembly, and this is the replacement parts, right? For starters, they give us a new cone. I honestly don't know if it's different, but it's definitely in the kit. I'll use the new one. I can't tell if it's different or not. To me, by eye, it looks the same, but who knows? I'll definitely use the new one just in case. And they give us new screws. This spring over here is for the rebound. We're going to get into that later. High-speed compression, it's just a one-to-one swap out. Okay, so I can't tell the difference between the two outside of, if you look inside, there is definitely a spring in between this top and the shims underneath it, whereas over here, there is no spring. That almost looks like it's a seal, to be honest. So that's definitely different. Where you definitely see a big difference is going to be with the low-speed compression. So if you take a look at it, never mind this O-ring's a lot thinner on this one, but ultimately the holes in the middle over here are definitely bigger, and the holes on top over here are definitely bigger, like much bigger. So a lot more oil is going to flow through this than this. That's for sure. So that is a difference. And then we have the spring. Keep the spring in the bag so you don't mix them up, because it seems like that's hard to tell the difference, right? Until we need to take them out. So let's put all this back together. Before we start assembling, let's get organized, all right? So here's the new stuff again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the old stuff and put them in their bags. We're going to keep them. Keep the screws and that cone piece. All right, this is the spring that came with the new kit. This is for the rebound. We're going to deal with this later. I'm going to put it on the side over here. All right, and then I'm going to take this bag. I'm going to put in the old high-speed compression components, put on the side, and this is all the new stuff. Now, at the same time, what we're going to do is make sure we have ready for us a plastic pick, the 1.5 millimeter Allen that you already used, the 3 millimeter Allen that you already used, and a syringe with oil in it, 7-weight oil in it, because we're going to need to fill this thing up, okay? First thing we're going to do is take our IFP, and we're going to raise it towards the threads on the inside, right? So you have threads on the outside, there's threads on the inside. The flat part of the IFP, or at least the top part, goes to the threads on the inside. And we want to pick it up until we're about 30 millimeters. I already 30 millimeters, yeah, I already measured this. So I'm just going to sink this down till 30 millimeters, okay? Then we're going to take our high speed. We're going to put a little bit of oil on the new stuff. Let's give it a coat, both of them, okay? Now we're going to take it and we're going to put it into, from the flat part, the top part of the IFP, we're just going to take it and insert it into the IFP, hold the IFP down so it doesn't fall, until it's about 20 millimeters up. Basically, what you want to see is those holes. Don't sink it below those two holes, because we got to put those screws in, okay? So we want it to sit around there, okay? Then we're going to hold it. Now what we're going to do is, I mean, you could do this if you want, but turn this fully clockwise, or clockwise, right, to the fully locked position. We're going to insert it, hold on to the top, okay? And we're going to push it all the way through until it snaps in place. Okay, so now it's totally snapped in place. Now we have the holes, but if you notice, we're at a flat wall over here. What we want to do is turn it until you see that opening where a screw could go in. So now we're going to grab a 1.5 millimeter screw, put on our Allen. We're going to screw one side in, finger tight. It's like 1 Newton meter. Then I'm going to screw the other side in. Finger tight again. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lift the whole thing up. We're going to clamp it back down on the flats. So again, when we clamp them down, we do not want to clamp them on the screws. We just want to clamp them on the flat part, right? So just pick them up as much as you need to in order to clamp them down. Take them, clamp them. You don't have to over torque them down there. Then we're going to take our cone. We're going to put it in by hand, just like that, until you reach the end. Then we're going to take our 3 millimeter, and it's going to want to screw down finger tight. Don't over tighten this guy, right? And he should be able to go up and down just like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring him back out and leave him in the fully closed position there. Next, what we want to do is take that plastic pick, and we want to bring the IFP until he just barely shows itself on the bottom edge of this bleed hole, okay? So basically, the easiest way to do this is surpass the bleed hole a little bit, and then take that plastic pick and bring him down, okay? And then if you notice right there, he is right at the base of the bleed hole. Now we're going to hold him down, and we're going to push this guy until he is around just enough to put the needle in to fill him up with oil. So we're going to take our oil, and we're going to put it in and fill it up. It's going to be a bit of a mess. Okay. Fill him up until he makes, now, before we go any further, again, this is going to be a bit of a mess. Grab a paper towel. Highly recommend putting it around. Now we could overfill him. Okay, just like that. He is filled right to the top. Okay, now he's starting to overfill. So now what we're going to do is we're going to push this whole thing in slowly. Just take your time pushing him in. Just like that. Just take your time, let the oil go through all the ports inside and the shims until he stops. Which is right there. Don't force him. Just let him sit there just like that. All right. He is all set. Leave him on the side. Next, we're going to take this little spring and put it in our rebound head. Okay, so for starters, what we need to do is clean the shaft of all oil. And we're going to put shaft. Now, try and lock it down near the base, make your life easier. Okay, don't over tighten it. We just don't want it to spin. 13 millimeter socket. Take it, put it in, and there we go. 13 millimeter socket, and the cap should come off. Oops, watch out, we got shims under here. There we go. Next, we're going to get a tie wrap. We're going to put it inside, and we're going to grab this assembly from the base. And there's a lot of shims in here, okay? Make sure it all goes into the tie wrap, just like that. So if we look at our assembly, we have the top part, and then on the bottom over here, we have a check plate. Okay, this is the last thing. This check plate we are keeping. It's going back on. Then we have a check shim, and we have a spacer. This we are not keeping. What's going to replace that is this spring. And then everything else here we're keeping. Now we need to make sure that everything sits inside. Everything sits correctly on top of each other, basically, right? So we're going to take the tie wrap, put everything back on, slide everything down. Right, just like that. Now, we want to test it. We want to make sure it spins and sinks and springs. And we are good. Take out the tie wrap. Be careful with it. Put it on the side. Next, we're going to take the top cap. Press down on the piston. Okay, not on the shims. Press down on the pistons. Let the shims fall. And then screw it in. Just like that. And then we grab our torque wrench. 3.2 Newton meters. There we go, 3.21. And our rebound is done. Again, I wouldn't throw these out. I would absolutely keep them and put them with the old cone head and what a cone head. And the two screws, right? So those were for the compression, and these guys will be in the same bag. But instead of the spring, we will have the check shim and the spacer. Done. Now we assemble the rest. Make sure to have your torque wrench ready at 14 Newton meters, 28 millimeter crow's foot, all right? So first we're going to take our compression assembly. We're going to take the main tube. We're going to screw it in all the way down. All right. By hand as much as you can. All the way down. In fact, try and give it a... Okay. Now, we're going to torque them from this tube down here, from the compression tube, right? And when we do that, it's going to torque down this nut, and this tube all at once. So we need to attach them to the top over here at those flat spots. All right. So now, 14 Newton meter, 28 millimeter. A little bit more solid than that. There we go. Make sure he fits in, and done. 14.1. Next, we want to fill up the tube with oil, and we are going to insert our damper shaft. So first thing we want to do is make sure that we are in the fully open position. Grab your needle and turn it fully counterclockwise. Right? So if you go this way, it closes. If you go this way, it fully opens it. So we are in a fully open position. Now, we're going to grab our oil. Boy, I'm running out. And we're going to fill it up. Could you see? I'm going to fill it up. Actually, oh, shit. Not what I wanted to do, but I had extra in that syringe that I wanted to use. I totally forgot about it. Oh, well. It's okay. And you know what? It's going to get messy over here. Grab some towel and just let it collect some of the oil that's going to fall out. So we're filled. Tap the body just to make sure there's no air bubbles hanging around the bottom. It's a little bit tighter. There we go. Okay. Put a little bit more oil in them. There we go. We're going to take our seal head. We're going to bring it all the way down, okay, to the base over here. When we go to install this, we do not want to sink the shaft at all. Cannot sink. We need to put opposing pressure to the seal, right? So we want the seal to always be at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it. We're going to slowly let it go in, right? There's no rush over here. Let the oil fill the ports. And then we're going to sink it down by finger. Just like that. Till the end, and that's it. Then we're going to take our torque wrench, 14 Newton meters, with a 23 millimeter crow's foot. And this one's much easier to get to, and I don't know. Definitely not spinning, is it? Oh, geez. Great. That's not good. I was only halfway up. There we go, 14. Be careful. I was only halfway up. I'm lucky I didn't do damage. Okay. So that part is done. Clean up the shaft. And next we start the bleed. Let's prep before we bleed. So we have our new spring. Take it out of the bag. Take the old spring, put it in the bag. And we're going to put this on the side. Now, typically, damper shafts will have a line. Okay, and that is a do not exceed line when we go through the bleed process. Mine doesn't have that line, but whether yours has that line or not, what I do is I create myself a spacer essentially, or a block that stops me even accidentally going past that limit. So this thing's about 12.9 millimeters, which is what the line is from the Buttercup. Okay, so what I do is I put this guy around just like that, all the way at the bottom. And I'll take a zip tie and I'll zip tie him in there just to keep him secure. And this way, I won't. The only reason I zip tie him is so he doesn't bend. Oh, come on. There we go, right there. Okay, so this way I know that when I sink them, I won't overshoot. You do not want to overshoot that line. If you overshoot that line when you bleed, you basically, well, you took out too much oil from the system, essentially. You're going to have to go back in there, open it up, and top it off and do it again. So if you have that line, you do not want to exceed that line. And again, personally, I think it makes sense to do what I do over here, just create a block that blocks you from going down during this process. Okay, for the bleed process, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to put in the fully open position. This is our knob. Take our fingers, turn it counterclockwise all the way. There we go. Done. Now, we're going to take our spring. Okay. And then you're going to grab something to make your life easier, because this is going to get a little bit annoying pressing down on the spring with just a thumb. So grab like a towel or a paper towel, right, just to absorb some of that, sharp edges, basically. And the goal here is this. Here's your bleed hole. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put pressure down on the spring. We're going to try and bring it halfway down, basically. It's going to be challenging, guys. This isn't exactly all that easy, right? By doing that, we're putting pressure in the whole system. And first, what we're going to do is bring it down halfway while we're squeezing on the spring, basically, okay? So we're going to squeeze on the spring, pressurize the system, and bring it halfway. And we're going to do that until we hear no sounds inside. We don't want to hear any kind of air traveling back and forth. Okay, so ready? Again, press down about halfway. And then when you got it halfway just like that, go halfway down. Again, it's going to fight you hard. So you're going to use both of your hands, right? It's going to fight you real hard. Let me see if I can show you how much it'll fight you. So basically what you're doing is like that. And then you're pushing down, and it's going to fight you real hard. And I could hear squishy noises inside. So let's see if I can be quiet and you could hear them. Those are the noises you don't want to hear. And we're going to keep on doing this until we hear no noises. Again, this is annoying. Just keep that bleed port away from you. And make sure to put a good amount of pressure, right? You want to pressurize the system. Okay. You can use your palm, anything that'll make it easier to put pressure. I'm not hearing anything. It's clean down there. I don't hear a thing. So what you're listening for is squishy noises in here. So I don't hear any squishy noises at all. Do that one more time. Hopefully you can see that well. Okay. So again, putting down pressure. Nothing. No noise whatsoever. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down to that line. And that's why I like having that blocker. There is no way, because there's going to be a lot of pressure. There is no way I could overshoot this now because of this blocker over here. Okay. So we're going to do again, we're going to put good pressure down on that spring. We're going to bring it all the way down. And when you do that, oil will come out that bleed hole. So just watch yourself. It doesn't squish all over you or spray all over you. All right. Do it a couple of times. Oh man, was I in frame? Okay. Before we close it up for good, tilt it, because oil will come out just like that. Now we're going to close it up for good. So let's get ready over here. We have our torque wrench, 14 Newton meters, cassette tool. What we need to do is line up that knob with this guy here, okay? They have to line up with each other, else it won't fit. And that's going to be a little bit challenging at first, but you'll get it. Also, I had to put this on an angle because I don't feel like going through a whole complex setup to get it on camera. It was the easiest way I could get it on camera. You guys should get it, right? But if you're going to do yours, it's going to be easier to do it vertically, right? So I know that this knob is facing this way, so I'm going to want this line facing this way. Again, this is going to be a bit of a challenge, but we got to stick it in there. We got to make sure it aligns. There we go. And when it does, we start screwing down. There we go. I'm in. Then we're going to take our ratchet Hopefully it's not blurry. Let's see if I can fix that if it is blurry. We are going to screw them all the way down till we can't anymore. And then torque wrench, 14 Newton meters. Make sure he's in. There we go, 14.2. Next, we want to test them. I'm going to test them on an angle. You test them vertically, right? What we're going to do is we're going to take our low speed compression and we are going to put it on. We are going to screw it down. Okay, and then we're going to take them. We're going to spin them in a full clockwise position, fully closed. Okay, now we're going to take our shaft and we're going to go up and down, and it should be smooth the whole way. I mean, you're going to feel resistance without a doubt, but you should feel smooth flow. That's real smooth. And again, if you have that line, if you don't have a stopper like I do not exceed that line. Now watch out, there might be oil that might come out of here, right? I should have mentioned that before. So, but right now, silent, great pressure, totally smooth, no hesitations whatsoever. That is awesome. Let's put it to the fully open position. Nope. Try that again. Actually, I think I just put them at the bottom one by mistake. Yep. Fully open. I could feel the difference. Without a doubt, I could feel the difference. Okay. Oh yeah, this is like a lot more resistance. Good. Sweet. He is bled and he sounds great. Feels great. I got no complaints on my side. Now we make sure he's in the fully open position. We're going to take out our screw. I'm going to keep the screw with the knob. Don't lose them. Put them on the side for now. Now, we're all done with this guy. I'm going to clip that tie wrap, take out that stopper or that block. Like I said, I like this thing. Now we're ready to put it back into the upper tube. Okay, before we put them in, let's make sure we are all prepped, right? Because this is going to be a little bit different than usual, only because we didn't take off the lower leg. Okay, so we have to install the damper and fill it up with oil, or at least the lower leg with oil, without the oil spilling out, right? Because you're going to be vertical in your bike. I'm on a table over here, right? So the way this is going to work, first we're going to put the damper in. We're going to bring it all the way down to the bottom. And then we're going to put the nut in to block the bottom. And there will be space on top. And you're going to have 30 millimeters of Rockshox light lower leg fluid in a syringe, or any way you could put it into the top where the top part of the compression stack is, before we take it and we close it down with our cassette tool and our torque wrench. Okay, so this is what this is going to look like. We're going to take this guy, we're going to bring him all the way in. And like I said, he will reach the end, and we need to make sure that we are touching at the end. So I am fully touching, as you could see. So now, with that being the case, I could take this screw and screw it in. Make my life easier over here. Screw this guy in, and he's going to pull him down, but he's not going to pull him down all the way. So now, let's just make him a little bit tighter, make sure he's like relatively sealed. Oh, kind of. Without torquing him down. Okay. So now we know this is blocked. All right. So now we still have space over here. So we could take our syringe. It's going to take some patience. And land frame. We are going to inject the oil. And he will go all the way down. Don't overforce him. Oh man, I'm not in frame. Sorry about that, guys. So again, we're putting him in here, right? So when on your bike, it's going to be easier because you're going to be fully vertical. So it's going to be a lot easier doing this as opposed to on an angle. I got to take my time a bit. So, all right, and again, 30 milliliters, cc's, whatever your preference is. It's going to take some time. Just have some patience on this one. So you drip all the way down. And done. See, I didn't have patience at the end, and some came out in the back, but we're all good. I got it in time. Now we can take this thing, squish it down, screw it in place, grab our cassette tool, take it down by hand as far as we can. In fact, a little bit easier here. Okay, and we're going to grab our torque wrench. Actually, this guy here. I think I already set him to 28, right? Yep, 28 Newton meters. And we torque him down. Oh, you could do it. It's going to make it go down. There we go. 28.6. Now we could torque down our rebound bolt. 6.8 Newton meters. $6.84. Outstanding. Next, since we're down here, let's clean any signs of oil so we don't think that we had an oil leak later. We're going to take our rebound screw. We should be in the fully open position. Make sure the screw is showing. We're going to tighten it, but don't over tighten it. Just finger tight, a nice comfortable finger tight. Well done. Do not over tighten that bolt. There we go. And it's working. Cool. We'll bring it to the fully open for now. Next, let's put in our compression. Now, as for the knobs, for some reason, they give us a new compression, high-speed compression knob. And I don't understand why they would bother. There's no difference between them. Well, that's the difference. This one says 3.1. That is funny. All that expense just for that one number. Okay, I got it. So basically what we're going to do, first we're going to take our ring. Now, if you look at the ring, there's a white line on it, right? We want that white line to be at the back of the crown, fully at the back of the crown. So just like that, if you could see it. All right, hopefully you can see that well right there. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands, turn the high-speed compression knob, the outer ring, all the way to the fully open position, right? So, I mean, fully closed position, fully clockwise. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the line next to the plus sign and line it up with that line down there. Okay, so they should be totally aligned with each other. And then it's a bit of a mess doing it like this. Grab your 2mm and finger tight. Don't go too crazy on this thing. Now we're going to test it. All right, and make sure all those lines line up with the line on the bottom. Done. Perfect. Bring it back to the first line. Now we're going to take our low speed compression, but before we do that, we're going to take the 2.5mm. We're going to go inside. We're going to turn it all the way to the lock position. So fully clockwise. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take, geez, mainframe. We're going to take that first line next to the minus and line it up with that line over there. Okay. And then we're going to take our screw. We're going to put it in just like that. And, oops. Great. Now it's all magnetized. Perfect. Let's make sure we are in. Come on. Come on. Test him. All the clicks seem to work. Yep. Put him back. And he is done. Right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think 14 I counted. So we are good. Next, grab some alcohol on a paper towel. Make sure we clean all oil residue from our hands and from the job. And ta-da! And there you have it, folks. You and me just finished fully converting a Rockshox Pike Ultimate with a Charger 3.0 damper to a Charger 3.1. Not a hard job. Again, somewhat involved because there are a lot of tools for this job. But in the end, I mean, whether it's worth it or not, I have no idea. We will find out how much of a difference this will actually make. Again, keep all your old stuff. You never know, man. You might want to go back to the way everything was before. The other thing to note is that they did, what did I do with them? Where's the pack? There it is. They do give you shims. This is the tool to change them out. I'll do that in another video. In fact, I might just do it with this one over here as a singular video so you guys get an idea what that might look like, in order to give yourself an option, depending on your size and weight and your riding style, to see if you can make it work better for you. My guess is it comes with a standard. I hope it comes with a standard, and ultimately they give you the option to convert to a light or a heavy tune on this thing, right? So don't get rid of this tool. This is going to be needed in order to get these guys changed out. From there, you're going to have to, I guarantee you're going to have to find new settings for this thing. Your old settings are probably not going to work, or at least your dials, right? Maybe your air will still work, but you might even have to change your air pressures too, because supposedly this is significantly different. Well, significantly, there is going to be a difference in overall feel. My understanding is everything should feel a little bit softer. We'll find out, guys. I have no idea. So got to take it out for a ride. All right. So if you guys like this video, please, guys, hit that like button, man. It would be super appreciated. Hit the subscribe button to see more videos. Hit the bell button, ding, in order to get notified when new videos get released, and more videos like this are coming. Until then, I hope all is well with all of you, and we will be talking to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.